Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Ella, if you're new here, welcome. And today I'm going to be discussing my personal experience with using a menstrual cup while I have a coil. So I was recently asked the question, can you use a menstrual cup when you have a coil? So I thought I'd just explain very briefly what a coil or an IUD is. I think the names are interchangeable depending on whether you're American or British. I call it a coil or an IUD, and I have the copper coil. A copper coil is a form of contraception, so I'll put a picture of it up on the screen now. It's a little T-shaped device that goes up into your cervix and it stops sperm from impregnating an egg, so it stops you from getting pregnant. Copper is not a very good match for sperm apparently, so it just kills off the sperm, and then you can also get hormonal coils as well. If you'd like more information on my personal experience with getting the copper coil, because I know it can be quite controversial, there's quite a lot of negative videos out there and people's horrendous experiences, but if you'd like to see something a little bit more positive, I will link my videos down below. But when I first got the coil, I had been using a menstrual cup for about like a month, and I didn't know whether it was possible to use both at the same time. So for those of you who don't know, a menstrual cup is one of these bad boys. It is a little silicone sort of cup that you pop up into your vagina when you're on your period, and it collects the blood, and then you take it out, tip out the blood, and you reuse it. So similar style, I guess, to a tampon, except from way less waste, way better for your body. You're not putting any dodgy chemicals up there, and a lot cheaper as well, because you don't have to keep buying menstrual products. So it's really, really good investment. I'd really recommend you giving one a go. This one is the Lunette. It's the one that I'm currently favoriting. But I have got a new one that I'm going to try out, because I think with menstrual cups you have to kind of test a few out until you find your one, and I think this one is fine for now, but I feel like I could find better. But when I was researching, typing in the old Google, can I use a menstrual cup now that I've got a coil? And of course, like, Google gives you horror stories no matter what you type in. You can type in anything and it'd be like, no, this really, really worst case scenario is going to happen. And so it scares you. Except for it didn't scare me, so I tried it anyway. Because Google said, and this is obviously people's experiences, the problem and the kind of worry with using a cup when you have a coil is that when you have a coil, it sits up in your cervix and a little very thin string pokes down out of your cervix. So you can actually feel it if you put your finger up and wiggle it around a little bit. And with a menstrual cup, unlike a tampon, it kind of relies on being suctioned. So to put a menstrual cup in, this is just how I do it. I use like the fold down method. Pop it in and then release and it'll undo, and then from then on it's suctioned into like the walls of your vagina, and so it won't move. And the issue is the cup's here, it's in the lower part of your vagina, and then your string is poking out of your cervix, and depending on whether you have a high cervix or a low cervix, I think it can be easier or more risky or less risky, basically. Because if you have a low cervix, for example, the string might be hanging down here, and the issue arises if people don't release the suction of their cup before they pull it out. So to release the suction of a cup, all you have to do is just press in the side. You'll kind of feel it release and you should be able to take it out really easily. But if you don't release the suction, there is a very small chance, I don't think this happens like very often. Obviously, I'm not a medical professional in any way. I'm just talking about my experience and my personal, kind of like advice with it. But if you have any serious questions or concerns, definitely contact your doctor or gynecologist. I'm not qualified to give advice, but the concern is if you don't release that suction, there's a chance that you could kind of pull and dislodge the coil. So that sounds horrific. Definitely don't want to be doing that. And I have now been using the menstrual cup and the coil. I had the coil done in 2018, so over 2 years now, and I've been using the menstrual cup for about 3 years. So I've been using the menstrual cup pretty much the whole time that I've had the coil. For the first 2 months, 2 periods after getting the coil, I didn't use this. Because I felt a bit sore, and also my periods were just much heavier and more painful, and I just didn't really fancy using this. I just fancied something that I knew how to use because this was still relatively new. But after that, I've been using this ever since, and you just have to be super careful not to yank your cup out, which you shouldn't be doing anyway. Don't take your cup out if you're in a massive rush, try and take your time with it. I've had many horror stories with me trying to rush taking my cup out, which maybe I'll go into another day. Let me know if you'd like to see some incredibly embarrassing, almost traumatic stories with my cup. But yeah, as long as you release that suction, I think there's very, very little chance of you pulling the coil out. I would carry on using it even though I've got a coil. I would say you can too. If you're just looking for some one-on-one advice, I'd say just be super careful that you're releasing the suction, and you should be absolutely fine with both having the coil and using a menstrual cup. So I hope that's answered your questions. Let me know if you have any other questions or any video requests about periods or cups or coils or anything like that. I'm happy to talk about anything. Let me know down below. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.